Welcome to the Coldiron Gridiron, where every sport gets the cold iron breakdown. Hello everybody and welcome to the Coldiron Gridiron. I am your first host, Zach Coldiron, joined by my little brother.
Hello everybody, I am Sean, happy to be alongside my big brother Zach here. I'm excited for the new football season. As you all know, the postseason depression was really hitting hard this year, but man, are we back, dude. I am so excited. A couple weeks have already passed in college football. FSU has, done a really great job. I think they're going to win the national title again this year. But, I'm, super glad to be alongside you again, brother. And we got plenty more podcasts to go throughout the year. So,
yeah, we do. And I'm super excited to keep posting episodes of this podcast as well as our other podcast. If you guys want to be like Myles Garrett and you like Dungeons and Dragons and American football, why don't you guys go ahead and check out the Forge D20 podcast, our sponsor for this episode, where you can watch their two main campaigns, Tales of Lodrianth and Thrones. You guys can catch them every Friday, and we will be releasing our podcast episodes here for Coldiron Gridiron on every Saturday at noon. Before we get started,
be like Garrett in another way, and hit a cracker upside the head with a helmet. Fun. Sorry.
You just had to get that one in, man. You just had to get that one in.
Bro. That was such an iconic moment.
Oh my God. It really was. But before we get started, I want to shout out our social medias. If you want to follow our podcast main X page, you guys can follow us at Cold Grid Pod on X. Sean, do you have any socials you want to shout out?
Yep, at SPCold69, my favorite number. If you guys want to go ahead and give me a follow along with the Coldiron Gridiron podcast, that would be much appreciated. We would love your support.
Absolutely. Hell yeah, man. So I guess let's get the ball rolling. There's a couple things I wanted to talk about this week. And first thing I wanted to really talk about was CeeDee Lamb's big contract extension last week, man. That dude got his bag. He absolutely got his bag. What are your thoughts on the money that he was guaranteed and the overall numbers in the contract? Do you think he's worth that money?
I do. I personally do think he's worth, that $136 million deal he signed over 4 years. I mean, I think he had a $38 million signing bonus on top of that as well. I mean, I don't even know what the fuck I would do with that amount of money. But that much deserved. I mean, Dak Prescott's a great, quarterback. CeeDee Lamb, I mean, that's just, those two together are honestly one of the top, quarterback wide receiver duos in the league. Dak Prescott, I mean, put up some crazy numbers last year, 4,500 yards, 36 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. And CeeDee Lamb had almost 1,800 of those 4,500 passing yards. So obviously CeeDee Lamb can produce, and I think he's going to do a lot more this year due to the fact that, Brandon Cooks may not even be playing week 1 due to the fact that he was, not a participant in today's practice due to, I believe, a knee injury, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know if he's still struggling with that, but overall, I mean, I think CeeDee Lamb is definitely worth, that $136 million.
Absolutely. I would say he is too. He's got one of the greatest quarterbacks currently in the NFL behind center. Throwing to him and Dak Prescott, who I think is unfortunately slept on really hard. But I do think that CeeDee Lamb deserved that $136 million a year contract. By the way, when you do the math, he had 135 receptions last year. So if I do the math, right, 136 divided by 4 is $34 million a year, if I'm not mistaken, right? This man, I swear to God, he is making for every single catch that he gets about, it's like $400,000.
Yeah, I wish.
Some shit like that, it's either 400 or 40,000. My brain is completely fried. It's 9:00 at night, and I've had a long fucking day. But that man got his bag, and you know who else got his bag, bro? Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk got his bag too. But I'm not sure if you're gonna have a hot take like me on that. But what's your kind of take on Brandon Ayuk's contract situation?
Man, I was really hoping for a big trade move for Brandon Ayuk. I know the Browns had offered Amari Cooper, and I think honestly it was the same contract that they were going to give. The Browns were going to give him the 4-year, $120 million deal that the 49ers, end up giving Ayuk. But again, I was really hoping for a trade to either Pittsburgh or Cleveland. I mean, that division is already, as you know, being a Bengal fan is competitive as it is. So, I'm excited to, see some continued success with him, along with the 49ers. I mean, they've made, I think, every NFC championship over the last 5-6 years or something like that, some ridiculous amount of numbers. So, I mean, if you're a 49ers fan, you got to be, excited about that.
Absolutely. I think I would be excited about something like that too. However, like I said, I have a pretty hot take about Brandon Ayuk. I think he's overpaid. I think he's overpaid. I mean, think about it this way, man. He had about 500 less yards last year than CeeDee Lamb did, and got about maybe like $10 million less. Like, I legitimately think they could have gotten away with paying this man a $110-105 million contract over the next 4 years. But and this is just because I also know that they have Deebo Samuel on their team, and I'm not sure when his contract's up. I'm gonna have to look that up on my end, but they're gonna have to pay that man too.
No, I agree. I don't know how they're going to be able to afford it. Obviously, with Brock Purdy as their quarterback, I don't even think he makes $1 million a deal. He still lives at home with his parents. I mean, he's living the fucking dream. But yeah, I personally think Brandon Ayuk's a decent receiver. He puts up, on average, more yards a catch than CeeDee Lamb does. I believe he was averaging almost 18 yards a reception last year. He didn't quite get as many receiving yards as he did or receiving touchdowns, but obviously if they're going to give him 4 years, $120 million, he's gonna produce. I think they're gonna be throwing him the ball a lot more than you think.
Yeah, maybe they'll start scheming it around him a little more, and maybe waning off Deebo with the fucking jet sweep plays.
Yeah.
We might see a little bit of a medium deep pass game from Brock Purdy. Maybe with the check down as well for McCaffrey, that seemed to be working for them a lot last year. But ultimately, these two contract signings, bro, they affect the Bengals, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got to pay Jamar Chase. I mean, I'm really worried. I mean, we just saw Jay Jettas get, paid 4-year, $140 million. And from what I've been hearing, Jamar wants the same deal, if not a little bit more. And we're coming, on week 1, couple days away, and he's still listed questionable on the roster, and that really concerns me. But I was really hoping for a deal sometime today, or maybe even on the 1st of September. But it's still pending. I don't even think he's practiced yet. He hasn't put on pads. But personally, I don't even think he needs to.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, he's a top 5 receiver in the league. I think he does deserve to get paid. I don't know if you saw how much he wants to get paid. It's kind of funny. He wants to get paid 4 years, $140 million and 1 cent.
1 cent more than, okay. I mean, respect. I mean, he produces. I think he had over, he hit actually 100 receptions last year, 1,200 yards, not as many yards as he produced his rookie year, but I'm really hoping for something soon, because I cannot be without my boy week 1.
No, understandable. And even though he had almost 1,200 yards last year, he missed a good portion of the season last year. He was dealing with a back injury for a couple weeks and a shoulder problem as well. That's when T. Higgins was getting a lot of looks, and I personally think he would have maybe done just as good, or if not maybe even better, than CeeDee Lamb did last year. So I definitely think that Jamar is probably worth that $140 million and 1 cent. Now, do I want him to get paid that much? Absolutely not. I would love for us to, save a little money, re-sign T. Higgins, because you know me, I fucking love T. T is one of my favorite players on the Bengals, alongside Jamar and Joe. And I want to see T get his bag, but in Cincinnati.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. Typically, man, I mean, he's on his 1-year tag, and man, I've lost all hope. I mean, this is our last run, I think, with T, Jamar, and Joe, and that that quarterback wide receiver duo, man, is definitely elite. Joe Burrow has had his first healthy offseason. His rookie year, he had to deal with COVID, and he tore his ACL, his appendix, his calf, and he's just been injury riddled his entire career. Well, this year, again, he's been healthy this offseason, so fingers crossed, everybody can produce. We get paid, or they get paid, and we keep everybody. But I don't see T staying after this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, me neither, and I really hate to say it, man. T. Higgins is fucking awesome.
Yeah, but hopefully, I mean, we should be able to get at least a first-round, draft pick. I hope we don't fucking sell him for, a bag of chips and fucking pocket lint. That would be, upsetting, especially the Bengals. Yeah, no, Mike Brown's a cheap fuck.
Yeah, so are the Cincinnati Reds, but you know what? We're going to save that for another podcast, probably for the next episode.
Oh, Cincinnati, what the fuck?
Oh, man, come on, dude. People from Cincinnati are notoriously cheap, us included.
Yep. Oh, yeah, I know it, brother.
All right, so we got some contract talks out of the way. We have the NFL season on the horizon. I wanted to start with maybe some predictions that you had for the Super Bowl, some early predictions for the Super Bowl, and maybe some of the NFL awards that are going to be dished out this year. So let's go ahead and start with your Super Bowl prediction this year. I know you've got a whole list of who's winning what game every single week.
Oh, yeah, baby.
And you've got like your playoffs already mapped out. What does that look like for you? What does the Super Bowl look like for you this year, or even the playoffs in general?
Well, I do for the playoffs in general. I believe I have 5 new playoff teams entering this year. I have the Jets coming in at the number 3 seed. If Aaron Rodgers obviously can stay healthy. I mean, the Jets defensively are fantastic. I believe it's a top 5 defense in the league. Garrett Wilson, he's great offensively. Breece Hall, I think, is destined for an outbreak year here. So I have the Jets as one of our new AFC playoff teams, along with the Indianapolis Colts. I know a lot of people, I'm probably going to get a lot of shit for this, but they have a top 5 O-line and D-line. So obviously they're going to get a lot of sacks. They're going to protect Anthony Richardson a lot this year. And he was putting up great numbers before he, unfortunately had a season-ending shoulder injury last year. A third new playoff team I have is going to be our Cincinnati Bengals. As I said, Joe Burrow has had his first healthy offseason, and I think that's going to, lean into the new year and all the way into February, and they're going to be my AFC Super Bowl pick. I do have the Bengals going all the way, even winning it. I know it sounds a lot, very biased, but even if they can't get it done, personally for me, I think it'll be either Cincinnati or Kansas City. I mean, the NFL really wants them to three-peat, but that's my prediction for the Super Bowl. Another new playoff team I have on the AFC side is the Chargers. Kind of a crazy take, but I can kind of maybe see them making their way with a surprising year. On the NFC side, I have 2 new playoff teams. I have the Chicago Bears, along with the Atlanta Falcons for this year. My NFC pick for the Super Bowl, Green Bay Packers. So I have a Bengals-Packers Super Bowl this year. I'm a big, superstitious guy. I'm a history repeats itself kind of guy. Look at Brett Favre, second year into the league, went to the Super Bowl, won it. When he left and went to New York, Rodgers stepped up his second year, beat the Steelers in the Super Bowl. And if this doesn't happen, if the Packers don't go to the Super Bowl, I'm going to stop being that superstitious, kind of guy. So that's who I got this year for my Super Bowl is Bengals over the Green Bay Packers.
That's a hot
take. What about you? What do you got this year?
Maybe a little biased. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Bengals are looking really good. I mean, they had a couple good undrafted free agent signings this year. Very good depth from what I've seen on the depth chart, so I think that's a pretty good take. But I'm probably just going to keep it surface level because I don't know what's going to happen in the playoffs this year. I do have the Bengals making the playoffs on my end, and I do have a certain team not making the playoffs on my end that was in the playoffs last year, and that would be the Steelers. The Steelers are in fucking danger. Absolute fucking danger. Russell Wilson, not as good as he used to be. Justin Fields, he's hit or miss. And that receiving core, besides Mr. Pickens, well, let me tell you, easy pickings for the defense.
I agree. The Steelers really, I personally think they're rebuilding. I know they've had, 17 straight winning records or something ridiculous like that. And people, it's going to continue. No, I don't see that happening at all. As I stated before, AFC North is such a competitive division, the best division in football. I don't even have the Browns making the playoffs this year. I'm not a believer in Deshaun Watson, and as you said, I'm not a believer in Russell Wilson. I mean, he's not riding on shit anymore.
Absolutely, and I don't believe in people who, sexually assault people, so fuck you, Deshaun Watson. Just fuck you. My buddy's a Browns fan. He'll probably say the same thing. Fuck him.
But, buddy, keep your hands to yourself.
Anywho, back to who I think is going to go to the Super Bowl. I do think the Chiefs are going to three-peat this year.
No.
Unfortunately. Yeah, I really hate to say it, man, but they're going to fucking three-peat, and they're going to play the Lions, who are going to finally make their first Super Bowl appearance, which would be fucking awesome if they won. If the Lions go to the Super Bowl and win, I would be so happy for them. It's like in my eyes, that's like a sister franchise to the Bengals, man, just because they know what it's like to not go to the playoffs, to maybe get in a couple of rounds and then get taken out in the NFC Championship game. But for them, if they get to that pinnacle, to that point where they go to the Super Bowl and they win, that would be fucking awesome.
No, absolutely. I agree. And I think if the Lions do win the Super Bowl, I might get me a Derek Barnes jersey. Shout out to Northern Kentucky area, Holy Cross High School. I like the Lions, man, and I personally think that Dan Campbell is going to win Coach of the Year. Either him or D'Amico Ryans, head coach down in Houston, who I personally think was robbed last year. I do not think Kevin Stefanski deserved the Coach of the Year last year. I know I'm probably going to get some shit from that from our Browns buddy, but no, I really like the Lions. I actually have them going to the NFC Championship against the Green Bay Packers, and I would love to see a nice interdivision conference championship game. That would be fantastic to see.
Absolutely, and I think it's totally possible. But now that we've got our playoff predictions kind of out of the way, let's do some NFL awards, and we're going to save the big one for last. We all know what the big one is. The big one's the NFL MVP. So we're going to start from the bottom. NFL Coach of the Year.
Well, I already gave you my pick, man. I'm loving Dan Campbell. I like the Lions. Good pickup with DJ Reader on the defense there. Aiden Hutchinson still looks good. Offensively, they look great. Great O-line with Penei Sewell. Sam Laporta on the tight end side there. I mean, they just look fantastic all over the board there. So,
okay, I think that's a good pick. My pick is probably going to get some shit. Some fucking shit. Because just like how you had the Chargers in the playoffs, I had the Chargers in the playoffs too. And I think Jim Harbaugh is going to win Coach of the Year.
That's an interesting take. I mean, I know he's had, obviously some experience in the past with, the 49ers. And I didn't know he went to the Super Bowl, but I don't think he won it. They played the Ravens. That's right. It was the Harbaugh brothers Super Bowl where the fucking lights went out.
Yep. Oh my God.
But I could definitely totally see that happening too. That honestly went over my head. I really like that pick. That's really good. I think another good pick would be possibly Bears head coach. What was it? Matt Eberflus?
Eberflus, yes, Matt Eberflus.
Yep. But I think he would also be another good candidate for coach of the year.
Absolutely. I think those are some pretty solid prospects for Coach of the Year. So after, Coach of the Year, I don't even want to call this the NFL Comeback Player of the Award of the Year. I want to give our podcast its own name. I want to call it the Damar Hamlin Award. And because I was there when Damar Hamlin passed away. and on the field, and he was resuscitated back to life, and that shit is fucking scary. And even though I don't think he was deserving of the award, he was the first NFL player to die on the field. And that dude to come back out the next season and come out play, that's a fucking D-A-W fucking G. Mad respect to Damar Hamlin. So here we're going to call it the Damar Hamlin Award, but everyone else is going to know it as the NFL Comeback Player of the Year Award. So who do you think's winning that one?
Let me see. I have some notes, but I honestly, Zach, I think it's going to be Joe Burrow.
Me too.
I'm being so biased here, man, but I know I said last year was the same thing, and then he was dealing with his calf injury. Then his little baby hands, he couldn't throw the football anymore, whatever. But I do think Joe Burrow is going to step up this year, be a leader, stay healthy, and take his second Comeback Player of the Year award in his trophy case.
Absolutely. And if it wasn't Joe Burrow, I would probably say Aaron Rodgers. I do see the Jets, as long as Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, getting some good numbers from Aaron Rodgers and him getting that NFL Comeback Player of the Year award.
If he can get more than 4 snaps.
Let's just hope that Achilles doesn't snap again, because it's kind of crazy. Yeah. I want to bring this up. It's kind of fucking crazy how he snapped his Achilles in week 1, right? If I remember correctly.
Yep.
And he's starting the fucking season. Sean, that is an injury that takes over a year and 3 months to recover from.
Yeah,
and he's starting week 1.
Yeah, I believe the doctor that performed the surgery, it was like an advanced type surgery or something, and he went through some intense rehab and stuff like that. I mean, these athletes, man, I'm really put their body to work. I mean, as you said, Damar Hamlin unfortunately lost his life on the field, and I'm thankful he's still with us. But I mean, that's the reason why these guys get paid, is they put their bodies at risk, young or old, guys like Aaron Rodgers, guys like Damar Hamlin and stuff like that. So that's just my thought process with the Comeback Player of the Year award.
All right. Well, now that we have our Damar Hamlin award out of the way, we're going to get into some of the rookies, man. These rookies this year, bro, absolutely fucking loaded rookie class this year, bro.
I think it blows. That's just me. Defensively, It looks great. Offensively, there's not a lot of good offensive guys that were drafted this year. But for me, I have Marvin Harrison Jr. Getting our Rookie of the Year award, Offensive Rookie of the Year award. I think Kyler Murray is going to stay healthy this year. Hopefully he can stay away from, double XP weekend and and give Marvin Harrison Jr. some receptions. So that's going to be my pick for this year. I think he's going to have over 1,000 yards, over 10 touchdown catches this season alone, and just like his father, he's going to be very, very successful in the NFL.
Yeah, I got to agree. Marvin Harrison Jr. is my pick for the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year award. He has shown so much like every time the University of Michigan played Ohio State, I was shitting my pants if Marvin Harrison Jr. was getting the ball, because I'm like, oh no, we're going to fucking lose. But dude, he is a fucking dog, and I want to see him get, like you said, 1,000-yard year, maybe even 12-plus touchdowns. I think he could totally do it, as long as you're right, Kyler Murray, doesn't fall off after Call of Duty Black Ops 6 comes out.
Yeah, and honestly, if that does happen, I don't even know who their backup quarterback would be. I think it's, I don't even know, my boy. Clayton Tune. I literally had to Google it. Don't even know who this guy is. He was a 5th-round pick out of Houston, 25 years old. Cracker of the day is Clayton Tune. Shout out Clayton.
Oh my God. So let's get into the defense then. Who do you think's winning Defensive Player of the Year for the rookies?
This is going to be an interesting one. I picked Dallas Turner for the Minnesota Vikings. I know their defense is already stacked as it is. They've got some very key players defensively. But I think Dallas Turner, shout out Bama. Don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide. Fuck the Tide. I think he's going to, produce some numbers for the Vikings this year.
I think he will too. And I think there's 2 rookies that are on the Vikings defense that could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Byron Murphy got drafted to the Vikings as well. He did. Byron Murphy, another Viking on there as well. They drafted really
Byron
strong
Murphy.
defensively this year.
Yep. He is also, he's not a rookie. He was drafted in 2019.
Are you
Got
sure?
you muted here, buddy.
Are you sure? Maybe you're right. No, you are fucking right. Jesus Christ. Everybody, we need to cancel me. Clearly don't know anything about football, so let's get into my pick. It's Leatu Latu. Dude, did you ever watch this guy play?
No, I did not. I really have eyes on... I'm a believer in the Vikings this year. I know it's going to be a crazy take with J.J. McCarthy unfortunately going down, but, man, I really like the Vikings defense. Byron Murphy, as you said. Cameron Bynum looks great. Again, my rookie of the year for defense, Dallas Turner. They are just stacked defensively. So I'm a big believer in the Vikings this year. But who were you talking about?
Leatu Latu. He is a pick out of, he played for Jesuit High School, not in Tampa, in California. He did play for the Huskies and the UCLA Bruins. And,
he's on the Colts?
Yes, he got drafted to the Colts, which that defense, scary as fuck. As fuck.
That's another great defense.
No, absolutely.
People are going to sleep on those 2 teams this year. They're going to 5, 6, 7 wins, miss the playoff. Now, Vikings are going to make the playoffs. I think they're still going to produce, not as, they're not going to have 8 or 9 wins. I think they're going to go 7-10 this year. More wins than people think. But the Colts, they look fantastic. I'm looking at some of his stats from when he went to UCLA, and he looks good too. He might even be my backup pick for defensive rookie of the year. That's a good pick.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I do think it's a good pick as well. So now that we got the rookies out of the way, bro, it's time for the dogs who've been here for a minute. Let's start with the defensive rookie of the year, or not defensive rookie, Jesus Christ. The defensive player of the year. Who do you think's winning defensive player of the year this year, man?
For Depoy, there's so many great defensive guys in the league right now. I mean, it's. I think personally, the league is more defense heavy than it's ever been. My heart's between these 2 guys right here, Aiden Hutchinson or T.J. Watt. And I personally think T.J. Watt was robbed last year of that Defensive Player of the Year award. Myles Garrett did not deserve that award whatsoever. He was, I believe, 8th in sacks. He had 15 sacks last year. Not even top 5 in the league. He was 23rd in solo tackles, or 49th in solo tackles with 23 last year. And T.J. Watt had 20 sacks, led the league, and he was 13th in solo tackles. How T.J. Watt didn't win that award absolutely blows my mind. So I personally think between either Aiden or T.J., I'm kind of leaning more towards T.J. Personally, for me, I know the Steelers, again, are a stacked team defensively, but man, does he produce.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that T.J. Watt was also fucking robbed, and I really like Myles Garrett. Don't get me wrong, but man, T.J. Watt put up better numbers last year. He definitely deserved the 2023 NFL Defensive Player of the Year award, and I think he got absolutely robbed. I mean, the only person that I think you really could probably argue with Defensive Player of the Year was probably either Max Crosby or maybe Micah Parsons, but dude, T.J. Watt had that shit locked. I'm surprised he didn't win it.
Max Crosby is also another good pick, man. I mean, the Raiders are terrible. That's all I'm going to say about the Raiders. But he's definitely that star player, and on that team, he's obviously a big motivator. He's a leader, and I personally think he could also be a top candidate for that award.
Hell yeah, man. So now that we got our defensive picks out of the way, we got the offensive player of the year. offenses are absolutely stacked. And personally, if Jay Jettas can stay healthy the entire season, I think there is potential he breaks 2,000 fucking yards. But even with the way the Vikings quarterback room is looking right now, you could throw the worst pass in triple coverage to Justin Jefferson, and somehow, some way, he's taking it to the fucking house. I think Justin Jefferson is going to win NFL Offensive Player of the Year this year.
Okay. I mean, I'm not upset with it, but it's not my first choice. You are right. The Vikings quarterback room is very questionable. I was really hoping for, J.J. McCarthy to, step in, national champion. I was very unfortunate to see him, go down after his week 1 preseason game. And he was putting up some crazy numbers that game. I don't know if you saw or had watched, but I think he completed like over 70% of his passes. He was 11 for 17, 188 yards, 2 touchdown passes. I mean, he looked great. Obviously, Sam Darnold's now going to have to step up. He's really had a shaky career, but he was behind some success last year in San Francisco. So hopefully that, leadership mentality can lean into Minneapolis. And if that's the case, you're right. I mean, he's down there somewhere. Jay Jettis is down there somewhere. Triple, quadruple coverage, whatever. He'll make a way to, catch the ball and bring it to the end zone. But personally, for me this year, I have Breece Hall winning our Offensive Player of the Year. He was just shy. He actually had a little over 1,000 total yards last year, averaged 4.5 yards a carry, which is just fantastic, and was producing insane numbers the second half of the year. And I think that success is going to lead into this new season. So Breece Hall, the Jets are going to be very successful this year. I think Breece Hall is going to take it home.
You know what, man? My mouth dropped when you said that, because guess who's got him in fantasy? This guy. Breece Hall was my GOAT last year, bro. He got me into the finals of our fantasy football league, and I picked him up again. Believe in Breece.
But what happened in that championship game?
Man, we don't talk about that shit, man. Shut the fuck up. Raph had Christian McCaffrey. There's no way I was winning that shit. I think Christian McCaffrey had 52 points.
That's okay. Not the backup Cardinals quarterback, whatever. Not cracker of the day. CMC's cracker of the year.
Oh my god, bro. Okay. Last award. We saved the best for last. The 2024 to 2025 NFL MVP. Who you got?
I'm kind of curious to hear your opinion first on this one. You've got some crazy takes, throughout the recording here. So I'm very curious as to who you think is going to bring home MVP.
Yeah, so I definitely think it's going to be the best NFL quarterback in the game right now, Josh Allen. The turnover king. Just kidding. You really think I'm going to give that guy the light of day as NFL MVP? Bro, if Josh Allen has no haters, I am dead. I am simply dead. I think he's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. But, dude, he turns the ball over way too fucking much for me to be like, that's my MVP. To be honest, I think the person who's winning MVP is C.J. Stroud. That dude has weapons on weapons on weapons on weapons on weapons. You got Joe Mixon in the backfield, who's a great check down guy. You got Nico Collins, who's a fantastic receiver. You got Stephon Diggs, who, albeit being a drama queen, still very good receiver. You got Tank Dell, who is finally healthy again. That offense is fucking explosive. I think CJ Stroud's going to have a fucking year.
I like that pick. You left out Joe Mixon. I know he's not the greatest pass blocker in the world, but he can also produce offensively, and I believe he's a great pass catcher. He can get some yards after catch, and you're right. I mean, the Texans look strong this year. I actually have him as our number 2 seed, winning 13 games this year. But that is a great pick. I could see him, throwing over 4,500 yards this year, maybe even getting over 45 touchdown passes. Excuse me. No, but I could definitely, see that. But he's actually not my first choice. I think you're going to be very surprised is who you think is going to be my MVP pick for this year. And that is going to be Jordan Love. As I said,
no.
I'm a very, very superstitious guy. History tends to repeat itself in the NFL. Again, it's second full year in Green Bay. Could go to the Super Bowl. Could is the key word. I think he had 3 game-winning drives last year. Just over 4,000 yards. His touchdown interception ratio wasn't too bad. 32 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. I really think he's going to cut down on those picks this year and really produce for Green Bay. I mean, that's such a young team, young talent. They have a lot of great receivers on that team. So I think Jordan Love is personally going to be my pick for MVP this year.
I think that's a completely valid take, man. I think Jordan Love is about to have an explosive season. I definitely could see him absolutely winning MVP, and I think that's a pretty good choice.
Christian Watson is a young receiver on the team, along with Jaden Reed. I mean, those guys are, again, they're in their prime, and I can really see the Packers producing some crazy numbers this year.
And I would absolutely love to see that. I love the Packers.
Youngest
Great
team in the league.
organization.
Crazy.
All right. Now, we're going to cap this son of a bitch off with a little bet we have going on between ourselves. We're going to get this verbally on the podcast, but we're going to see who can get the best predictions this year. Every week, to end the episode, we're going to go through every single NFL matchup and predict who's going to win game by game. And the person who has the best record wins $50. So,
we already know who that's going to be.
No,
yeah, go ahead.
No. You think it's going to be you? That's so cute. That's so cute. So let's go game by game. We'll say our predictions. We are using playoffpredictors.com, which, by the way, we're not sponsored, but a fantastic website. If you guys want to do some of your own predictions, I highly recommend you guys go check them out. So we're going to start with the AFC matchup, Sean. First game we have is Ravens versus Chiefs. Who ya got?
I'm looking forward to this game. I mean, the Chiefs are kicking off week 1 again. Obviously, Super Bowl winners typically start the season off. Patrick Mahomes is that guy. I got the Chiefs, man. You can't bet against that dude.
I agree. I got the Chiefs here. I think the Ravens will give a competitive game, but, dude, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, they're just unstoppable, man. They really are. All
Unfortunately.
Right. Next game, we got our boys, the boys in orange, the jungle, Houday Nation, the Cincinnati Bengals versus the New England Patriots. Who you got?
Do we even need to?
Nope. I don't even think this needs to go without it being said, man. Like, Jacoby Brissett is starting for the Patriots. That's all I got to say. The Cincinnati Bengals. Exactly. Who? Day.
Yeah, give me the Bengals.
Give me the Bengals. All right. Next up, we got a inter-Florida matchup. The Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Miami Dolphins. Who you got?
This is really a tough one. I mean, I'm not really a believer in Tua or Trevor. Yeah, they're successful. They're, got a lot of talent around them. But this is going to be a hard one for me to pick. And I think the easiest way to do it is just home field advantage. I have the Miami Dolphins winning this game on Sunday.
Yeah, I do too. I just think that they have a more explosive offense and they're going to get more done on the game. So I also have the Miami Dolphins. Seems like we got a lot of similar picks going on here.
Yep.
If it's a draw, we're not giving each other money, but I hope someone gets some fucking money. But maybe this is where it'll change, because this next game, it's an interdivisional matchup, and it could go either way. The Texans versus the Colts.
This is actually going to be my upset of the week. I have Anthony Richardson and the Indianapolis Colts taking a W this week against CJ Stroud.
Wow. And I'm going the opposite here, man. I think C.J. Stroud's going to get it done. I think the Texans are going to take this big, fat dub.
Now we're starting to shake some things up here, baby. I love it.
We got to. And I fully believe in the Texans. I love my boy Joe Mixon. I love C.J. Stroud. They can get a lot done. All right, the last AFC matchup we got is the Raiders versus the Chargers. A snooze fest. Who you got?
I agree with you there. It's going to be a very low-scoring game. This is not going to be financial advice, but I actually have the under on this game. I typically don't like to bet on the under. I'm an over kind of guy. But I actually have the Raiders taking a win this week against the Chargers.
I think, hot take, the Chargers are going to win this game. I think that Justin Herbert, being fully healthy, ready to go, he might not have a lot of weapons around him anymore because of some offseason moves, but I know Justin Herbert is a good quarterback, and I think he's going to get the job done this week.
Okay.
All right, let's go into some different conference matchups. We got our first one being the Titans versus the Bills.
Another very interesting matchup. I think it's going to be another low-scoring affair. But I think Caleb Williams is going to get his debut jitters. I believe Will Levis and the Titans can get this done. The Titans made a lot of improvements this offseason with Awuzie and Boyd taking them away from our Bengals. So I think Tennessee, on paper, for now, looks better and is going to take the W for this weekend.
And I agree. I think the Tennessee Titans are going to come out on top for this game. It's just, I think you're right. Caleb Williams is going to get the first game shakes, but I think week 2 he's going to get pretty explosive. So I'm going to go with the Titans for this one as well.
Okay.
Next up, Steelers versus Falcons.
I got the Falcons. No question.
Okay,
Especially
I think that's a hot take.
Nah. Steelers, trash. Still the organization.
I think you got your bias goggles on, man. That Steelers defense is fucking awesome, and I know that Kirko is a good quarterback. They made a lot of good offseason moves, but I think that this is going to be a low-scoring game, dude. I think that the Steelers are going to win, and I think it's going to be on a last-second field goal. Remember that. Write that down, everybody. Write that shit down.
Yeah, I mean, both teams really do have great defenses. I could definitely see that being a low-scoring game for sure, but I like how we're starting to shake up some of these picks. You're taking the Steelers, I'm taking the Falcons.
Yes, sir. Next one we got is the Cardinals versus the Bills.
This one's pretty straightforward. I mean, I know Josh Allen lost a lot of his receivers, Gabe Davis going to Jacksonville and Stephon Diggs going down to Houston, but I think Josh Allen is a successful guy. He's a lot better than Kyler Murray, and that Cardinals defense really just isn't that good. So I'm going to go ahead and lock this. Is actually going to be my lock for the week is our Buffalo Bills.
I agree. I think the lock for the week is the Buffalo Bills, and you're right. Josh Allen might not have as many weapons to pass to, but that man, you let him scramble, he's running. And he's running far. Yep. I think Josh Allen is going to be the MVP for this game, week 1, with 2 rushing touchdowns. So 2, not 1, 2.
You don't think James Cook's going to, get some production? I mean, with Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman and these no-name guys, I mean, I think Josh Allen might be handing off the ball a lot more to James Cook, but I could definitely see him running in a lot for a lot of touchdowns this year, but I do like how we're both taking Buffalo here for the lock of the week.
Me too. All right, next one we got is Broncos versus the Seahawks. I'm gonna do this one first. I got the Broncos on this one, man. I really do.
What makes you think that?
Okay, I really like some of the moves that they made, specifically in the quarterback position. They have a nice young team. And I think that they can pull off an upset against the Seattle Seahawks. I really do.
Well, I'm going to have to take the home team here. I mean, I think it's just it's too hard to beat Seattle at home. It's too loud. I don't think, is Bo starting? this for the Broncos?
Hold on, I think Bo Nix is starting. If I remember correctly,
Yeah.
He has been named the Broncos starter. I think he's going to get it done, bro. I'm telling you.
We shall see, but I'm going to go ahead and pick Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I know we already went over Offensive Player of the Year award, but I think Kenneth Walker could possibly be another candidate for that award.
Ooh, okay. I see you, man. All right, next one we got is Dallas versus Cleveland, and I'm taking Dallas. No questions asked, bro. Dak Prescott is going to be throwing piss missiles all over the field.
It's going to be tough against that Browns defense, especially at home, but I know he tends to struggle, in against great teams, and the Browns are great. However, I think the Dallas Cowboys are a little bit better. They have the edge. I'm also going to go ahead and pick the Cowboys.
All right. Next one we got is the Jets, Jets versus the San Francisco 49ers. Who do you got?
I'm going to go ahead and take the safe option here and go with the San Francisco 49ers. Brock Purdy is a system guy. They have, honestly, the best defense still in the league. Aaron Rodgers, I think, is going to struggle a little bit. Not as bad as some people might think, but I'm going to go ahead and pick the 49ers to take this game for, I think it's, Monday Night Football.
Yep, it is Monday Night Football, and I'm gonna agree with you there, man. I do think I'm going to go with the safe option in the San Francisco 49ers. I think the Jets are going to struggle in the first week, but I think they'll pick up some momentum in week 2 and going on in the season. So let's do some NFC matchups. We've got 5 more games to get through, and then we're going to submit our pools for the week. Our Friday Night Football game in Brazil, home of Poatan.
Yeah, don't wear green, guys.
Yeah, do not wear green, please, for the love of Christ. The Green Bay Packers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to be taking the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love is going to be throwing the ball. They've got some good guys at the running back position. They're going to mix the game up a little bit, and I personally think that they're going to overcome that Philadelphia Eagles defense.
Yep, I agree with you there. I mean, the Eagles really, took a shit on themselves last year. I mean, losing 6 of their last 7, I think that's, going to lean into the new year for a little bit. I still have the Eagles, I believe, making the playoffs, but man, it was such a shame to see that team lose, 6 of their last 7 after, I believe, starting like 10-1 or something like that.
10-1.
But go Pack, go, baby.
Go, Pack, go. All right, next one we got the Panthers at the Saints. I'm going to take the Panthers on this one. I think that even though they had a super shitty fucking year last year, they made some good offseason moves. They drafted okay. I think that Deontay Johnson was a good pickup. Now, that's a hot take, maybe a little biased because I played with Deontay in high school. But Deontay, he's not the best route runner in the NFL, but that dude can run routes. If his quarterback can place the ball in his hands, Deontay Johnson is going to get some yards. They got Adam Thielen there as well, and I believe, what's his name? Chubbard? Fuck if I remember. It's a funny name.
My Chubba Hubbard?
Yeah, him. He's good. I'm not sure if he's starting. If I remember, he has an injury. But if he's starting, I legitimately think the Panthers can win.
Yeah. No, I'm going to agree with you there. I do like the moves the Panthers made this past offseason. Bryce Young really didn't have a lot of time in the pocket last year. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he was the most pressured quarterback in the league. And obviously the Panthers, front office saw that and said, hey, we're going to have to make some adjustments and protect our guy. Excuse me. I know they replaced maybe 1 or 2 of their offensive linemen, but I think Bryce Young is going to get some more time in the pocket. And you can't forget he's a speedy guy. He's quick with his feet. So I'm going to go ahead and also take the Panthers getting the win in New Orleans against their division rival.
Hell yeah, I think it's a good pick for both of us there, man. So we got 3 games to go. we've got the Vikings versus the Giants.
And I'm going to go ahead and lock my pick here with the home team, the New York Giants. This is another one of those games where you could probably go with either team. I think it's interesting that the the Vikings are the favorites in this game, probably because they have that one guy on their team. We all know who we're talking about. And that defense, too, is pretty good. But I think the Giants are going to get it done this weekend.
I don't think so. I think the Vikings are going to win, man. I think they got it in the bag. I think the Giants are overrated. And I know my buddy Derek is going to hate me for saying that. But I think the Giants, they're bad, but they're still overrated.
No, I agree. I still think that season they went to the playoffs, I think they went 10-7, was a total fluke. I don't know how that happened. I wish I knew the answers, but yeah, I got the Giants going 6-11 this year. And this is one of their 6 wins I think that they're going to get.
All right. We got 2 games left. This was a game we thought about going to, but we're not going to. I think we decided to go to the week 3 game, which is the Broncos game for the Bucs. But it's going to be the Commanders versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to be taking the Bucs, man. The fucking Bucs. We love the Bucs, baby. Go Bucs. Tampa!
Bay, seize the day. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Bucs too, man. I think it's just hard for a rookie wide receiver to get it done, in his first game, especially on the road. So, Bucs were very successful last year. Baker Mayfield, man, he really brought the energy to Tampa Bay here. And I'm going to go ahead and lock the Bucs in for this week.
And I think you meant, you said wide receiver. I think you meant quarterback, right?
Yeah, sorry about that.
No,
I might be
good.
a little slow.
Jaden Daniels is a dog. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a dog, but I don't think he's going to get it done in his first week. I think there's going to be some adjustments that are going to need to be made, but I do think they will have a somewhat decent season this year. And our last game, man, I think this one has to go without even being said. It's the Rams versus the Lions. Who you got?
Sunday Night Football. This is a great matchup. Clearly, we can tell who already won this trade with Matt Stafford, Jared Goff. Obviously, the Lions have been more successful over the last couple of years. I know the Rams, did get their Super Bowl win against the Bengals. But you're going to be a little surprised here. I actually have the Rams coming into Motor City and upsetting the Detroit Lions on Sunday Night Football.
Wow. Wow. Fuck the Rams, bro. Fuck them. Fuck them.
Yep.
Fuck them all.
Yeah, Aaron Donald can suck my dick.
Thank God he retired, man. Because I don't want Joe Burrow to have to play that man ever again.
So it seems like you got the Lions, huh?
Yeah, I do. I got the Lions as my lock, man. They're my lock, but that's all of our picks for this week. So before we close out, you said you had a little segment you wanted to do.
Yes, we are going to be doing a weekly segment here with Sean's selections. This is not going to be financial advice. Take this at your own will. But I have a straight and a 2-leg parlay for this week. I actually, coming back to that Sunday Night Football game with the Rams and the Lions, I actually have the Rams at plus 3.5. And our 2-leg parlay for the week is going to be the Bucs to win and Rachaad White anytime touchdown score. Those current odds as of September 3rd at 10 p.m. are just under plus 200. So again, this is not going to be any financial advice, but these are Sean's selections for the week.
Well, there you have it, folks. Sean's selections are locked in. Maybe you'll win some money. Maybe you don't. But that's all we got this week for the Coldiron Gridiron podcast. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Remember to follow us on our socials. You can follow the main podcast X profile at Cold Grid Pod. And Sean, if you want to shout out your X again.
SP Cold 69.
Follow us. You guys will see posts from us every single day about some really dumb fucking shit. I promise. It's dumb.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. The Coldiron Brothers are out.